One of my favorite martial arts is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And that's because it combines leverage and pressure to overcome an opponent. Now, when you're up close and doing that close range fighting, you need those advantages to stack so you can win a match or win against an opponent. Now, I'm primarily a stand-up fighter, so it's actually a lot harder to find the mechanical advantage in things like striking because you're not up close. You could perform a wrong technique like a huge haymaker, right, and still cause some damage. So in trying to find the mechanical advantage, you got a lot of schools and a lot of coaches out there that are telling you to do certain things. Okay, the idea is to find the best mechanical advantage you can, practice it over and over and over again, and then your variations will come with the live spontaneous fight. Okay, so when you get into sparring or into your matches, okay, all those things change, but you have to learn what's going to optimally give you that mechanical advantage. So, for instance, the hook punch. A proper hook punch with full mechanical advantage is actually very, very complex. It has to do with loading, posture, right? And something that I love doing, I use it for my hook punches as well, and it's that elastic recoil of the chest muscle. Okay, elastic recoil is like taking a slingshot, pulling it back, and firing it out. Okay, and a lot of people get this wrong when they deploy it. So if you hold this out here, if I'm doing a hook off the front, and this is another note I want to make too. Everybody likes holding their pads for hook punch on this side when they come in up front or on the opposite side, right? Because they can see that clearly on here, and it's a lot easier for the pad work. But problem with that is this creates bad habits. So when I go in a hook and I want to get that mechanical advantage, I have to lean across my center line to get to all the way across here to hit flat on that surface. So whenever we hold pads, we hold that right up here on this side, because if I'm fighting somebody and our center lines are aligned, right, I can't hit this when I'm reaching all the way here. So I have to pop and move to one side, clear my line, and then when I pop my shoulder out for that whip and get that elastic recoil, right, I'm already in this position. So when I hit here and come up to back to online, I actually hit where I'm supposed to hit on my opponent on the side of that floating rib. So certain things to consider into your training in finding that mechanical advantage. Now, there's another one here that no, you can't see it from this side, but you can practice this on a heavy bag, you can practice on a partner, but anytime that you punch, say if you've got Bob or a heavy bag, all right, again, you practice with a partner as well. You can test this out for any punch. Anytime you hit a punch, you should be able to hit and extend without a problem, okay? This has to do with everything from posture, body alignment. I'm not back here in that pop motion before elastic recoil. My feet are facing in the direction of my force, so I'm pushing to the side. That's where that front pivot comes up. Boom. Here. All right, now if I push my foot out, again, you can't see it. I push my foot out, trying to push. It's a lot harder than if I have it here and then I push. I can push, I can extend, no problem with my feet facing the same way. That is maximal mechanical advantage. Okay, and of course, people are going to say, oh, in practical terms, you don't want to turn all the way because you're giving away, you might be giving away an angle that you may not see. Absolutely fine, but practice it with full mechanical advantage so you can cut it short, but you execute it properly like when you're tired. Okay, other things about mechanical advantage, that elastic recoil, right? Or that elastic recoil is great when this is your front hand and your southpaw. What happens though if you're doing it on the far side? Well, go 45. Allergies are killing me. So if I try to pivot with a mechanical advantage on this backside and hit all the way here, my legs are going to be crossed. So I can adjust this so the pivot is going in again towards that towards the floating rib at that angle. So I love 45s. I mentioned that last time with this under the chin, and it's coming up this way, up at that 45 or 30 degree. Okay, you do the same thing on the rear to reach, to get that same power as you do, get the same pop, and boom, unleash to there. And on my feet, again, you can't see my feet, but I'm facing in the direction of my target. And I should be able to push, no problem. If I'm back here in this pop position, like I said, it's a lot harder to try to push than it is if I'm here, relax. If I'm here, straight across, and unwind out this way. The other way I see this for the shoulder pop, it's like, again, going back to that slingshot. If I were to hold a slingshot out here, or like a rubber band against somebody, and I were to snap that, it's gonna hit hard right at this moment. Now it's gonna accelerate past it, and it's gonna help it hurt, but if I were to move that target up along that, as I was still holding it down here on the pad, and I were to hold that, the target close, and I were to snap it here, it wouldn't hurt as bad. I mean, your force isn't as strong as when it is. So when you're trying to do, when you see a lot of people do this shoulder pop, and they're hitting the target way out here with the shoulder out, one, it's terrible for your shoulder. Two, you're not utilizing this snap motion of your chest muscles the best way you can. So mechanical advantage, again, hook punch is one of those punches that you really, really need to understand the mechanics of it to get it right. So again, the difference again is if I'm popping, say if I don't pop, okay, and I'm lessening that mechanical advantage. A lot of people do this one too. They just hit, they move here, and then they'll out, and they'll just use the arm. I don't like using just one side because it does not stack to my advantage, all right? In order to stack that, I want to accelerate, and if you watched last week's video about that uppercut, you kind of see it's hard for me to accelerate for that uppercut because I don't have that elastic recoil that my chest does. Okay, same idea. If I'm here and just using my fist, can I go fast and hit hard? Sure, but I want to accelerate even harder, so I'm going to pop and hit and knock it out of Hooligan V's hand by moving in that mechanical advantage. Okay, I didn't technically move faster consciously, but that snapping motion, that pop, gave me a mechanical advantage to hit harder. Okay, now not all strikes have some sort of elastic recoil for this, so there are other ways to punch, but I wanted to cover the hook punch because it's one of those punches that I just keep seeing people doing it incorrectly, and they're like reaching way far out here. Again, best way to describe it is offline. So if your center line is here and you go offline for slip to load, you're gonna pop and then unwind back up. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's to the face, doesn't matter if it's to the body. And then here, I don't know if you can, I don't know if you can tell, can't see my feet, but I am in a conventional stance. No, that's me. I'm in a conventional stance, so it's on the rear, so I'm coming at that 45, so I'm here. Again, if I'm southpaw and I'm doing the lead hand, or on the other side, right? If I'm doing a lead hand hook and I can turn that in order to get that, I have to turn and here. Now I popped and unwound and hit. Everything came together here so I can push out to the side. Now I'm not just going to extend, I'm going to whip it out and then back in. I don't want to extend so far. This here, practicing here, pop, unwind, say pop, unwind, and right from this against the target, you should be able to just extend. And if everything is in the right place, in the right angle, whichever angle you're utilizing, it's going to be so much easier for you to penetrate and to get more power out of your strike. So I don't know, find the mechanical advantage. It is much harder in stand-up fighting because, again, it's something that people don't think about as much, and they like taking shortcuts because it looks way more impressive so they can go faster. Practice it. Remember, speed is a product of proficiency. You have to be proficient with the full range of motion before you can start cutting corners and know where you can cut corners effectively. Okay? That good? You good? All right, so for this weekend, start thinking about the mechanical advantages of all your strikes, your kicks, your punches. Again, it has to do with utilizing your body, utilizing your angles in a way that's going to maximize your power and effectiveness to land your strike on the target that it's intended. All right, guys, have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you next week.